Hello everyone, welcome to ZPR Zanu Project Rethink, and I'm Franck Zanu. I'm in the studio today, a quick monologue because last week or two there has been some movement in Kenya in East Africa with the visit of French President Macron. Now, many people glanced and groused over what has happened and made quick comments about it, and nobody saw the deep meaning behind it, and it bothered me a lot, and I thought, why not? I'm going to share my views. Now, please do understand, this is not a repudiation on any African country or trying to criticize the president. I'm just going to point to some very interesting historical parallel and connections, and for you to see that something really serious is happening and we need to look into it, really. I think by now, let me tell you, there are many young people on the continent who really are waking up. They are understanding things better than we thought. They see things in different lights than we think, and they need support. They need conversations, they need discussions, because this seems to be repeating itself for the last 69 years. It's almost 70 years what you are going to see. I'm going to play you two videos, and you judge for yourself and ask yourself very important question as we dive deep into these millennia going on. By the time 2026 is over and we get into 2028, by the time we get to 2030 and 2040 and 2050, we must have a statement, a question, and an answer. Where are we going? And are we really sure we have what it takes to take us where we are going? In 1957, Ghana, March 6, Ghana got independent from the British. The first president of Ghana was Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He studied all his life in the West, United States, and later on the UK. And that midnight, he got the mantle from the British to become the first president of a new republic, bustling with beautiful people, beautiful scenery. Ghana was beautiful, even though the country, as we know it, was not built by the people who live in it. About 38 or so tribes were forced together during the scramble for Africa, and it became known as Gold Coast, which later on Kwame Nkrumah changed the name to Ghana. So the midnight of March 6, 1957. This is a speech Kwame Nkrumah gave. Listen to the speech very carefully.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
Let me summarize it. And now, he said, the black man, first he started bizarre using the continent of Africa. Meanwhile, you got independence, many Ghanaians died, many Ghanaians were beaten, people struggled along with you, you formed parties, opposition parties, and you got independence for a country, a single country in West Africa. But the man in his speech did not talk most about the country he has just secured from the British. He said, Africa, the African, and the black man. Okay? It's time now the black man is going to prove to the whole world that we can do for ourselves. That was 1957. Any person who was 35 or 40 years in 1957, none of them who heard that speech, 99.9% are dead. He told the world, we are going to show you we can do for ourselves just like you have done for yourselves in Europe or in the Western world. 69, almost 70 years since Ghana got independence. In fact, anybody 20 years old may not be around anymore. Fast forward to 2026 in Kenya and listen to the Kenyan president. I'll come to that shortly. When Nkrumah got independence from the British, Ghana was beautiful and bustling. The people are unbelievable. Everybody wants to live in Ghana. Not just because Ghana inherited from the British quite a massive load of infrastructure, including metropolitan buses, post offices, letters were delivered to homes, you name it, fire stations, schools, churches, roads. And Nkrumah became the star boy. Nigerians were flooding to Ghana. We knew only two of them, the Yorubas and the Igbos, were the most common. They came to Ghana. They were industrious. The first private newspaper was established by a Nigerian in Ghana. We embraced them. They embraced us. Life was so beautiful in Ghana. 1957, Nkrumah got into office. Exactly 1 year later, August 12, 1958, guys, Nkrumah already asked Parliament to pass an act called the PDA, Prevention Detention Act. This act says that if Nkrumah has an inkling that you've said something against him, or you're plotting against him, or you are in opposition, he can put you away for 5 years without trial. So did Nkrumah establish democracy in Ghana? He will put you away for 5 years. Please, don't take my word. Go to the libraries of Ghana, go to the Ghanaian archive, and just Google and bring out the PDA of 1958, August the 12th. Prevention Detention Act. I would detain you to prevent you from being dangerous to me. Majority of opposition leaders, all were put in jail. The missionary left prison built in Nsawam. Nkrumah spent a lot of money to turn it into one of the first in West Africa, the maximum security prison. This is a country with no hardcore criminals in the street, no mafias, no gangs, nothing. Ghanaians were most gentle, loving people. But you build a maximum security prison. For who? He jailed opposition. Notable of them was J.B. Dankwa. He died in that prison. Dr. Buzia, he later became a Buzia, ran away from the country and went into exile. And many, many, many more. They all died in that prison or repeated jailing back and forth. By 1962, Nkrumah then got the parliament to make it an indefinite detention, which means when they put you there, you are now coming out from that place, the PDA. So you ask me, tell yourself, if this man really had what it takes to tell the world that I'm going to show you that the black man can do for himself and build his own country and build his own infrastructure and build his own systems to provide for its people the three basic needs, simple is all people need: good housing, food, hospitals, roads, and education, and security and safety, and that the people are free. Since you got freedom from the British, first thing you would give to your people was freedom. No. There was not a single private newspaper under Nkrumah. There was not a private-owned radio station under Nkrumah. There was not even a private-owned television station. He became a tyrant. Just think of the timeline. 1957, independence. By 58, you were busy focused on getting the parliament to pass laws that will make you jail your opponent. It means you have realized the job you took was only 24 hours. You can't do it. So you turn now to your very well-educated people who brought you to the country and helped you become a politician. You know they know more than you do. You know they will call you out, and therefore he made criticism become illegal in Ghana. You couldn't criticize Kwame Nkrumah. No, there was no way. And then he found that the African Young Pioneers, this focused more on primary and middle school kids who wore his pin and a scarf, and they were all trained. If your parents ever criticize Nkrumah, they will snitch. They will tell their teachers. Who would tell government officials? There was curfew in Ghana for a very long time. Soldiers go from home to home, searching people's homes if they have arms. Ghanaians didn't understand what it was, so some of them buried their precious, valuable things at the backyard because they thought that that is what the police were looking for. And the country started living under a tyrant. The most brutal dictator West Africa has ever known was Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He built the Winneba Center for Ideological Studies, a man who was going to build his country economically to boost life and living for Ghanaians, spent millions of dollars to build the Winneba Center for Ideological Studies. Ask yourself, who were the occupants of that building? All of them were Soviet Union officials, propagandists, security. They occupied the Center for Ideological Studies. They came to the country with the guys, we are coming to study Nkrumahism. Nkrumah used them for security, for spying on Ghanaians, and for advising him. It got to a point Ghanaians couldn't take this anymore. No, we don't deserve this, many of the people said. He has to go. Well, of course, in a sophisticated coup like that, you're going to need the support of experts. So yes, there is no secret about it that the Ghanaian military, of course, approached the CIA to help them. First, it was the MI5 they approached and said, you need to help us. This man has to go. Because as long as he was in the country, there was no way you're going to win a coup against Nkrumah as long as he was in the country. Everyone around him, students, were all spies. And so they helped say, well, Nkrumah is celebrated somewhere, the communist country, Soviet Union, and that he was needed to come and speak at the Hanoi Peace Conference. And, you know, with these espionage groups, they got Nkrumah to accept the invitation to go to Hanoi. As soon as he departed Ghana, Kotoka, Ankara, and Afrifa got into action. And they overthrew him. People poured into the streets, took down, the same way you saw in 2003 Iraq, when they took down his statue of Saddam Hussein. Nkrumah's statue went down. Ghanaians beat on it, chopped it into pieces, and they burned and destroyed every single paraphernalia of the African young pioneers. People became free to speak out. Ghana relieved a sigh and said, wow, the tyrant is gone. Nkrumah went first to his wife's country, Egypt, and then later on to Guinea, where he lived as, quote, a decorative vice president until he died. We will show the world that the black man can do for himself, take care of himself. Nkrumah realized in a very short time, the system is far more complex. The people who came to build the country and install all these infrastructures didn't do it because they announced to the world what they can do. They did it because they know how to do it. Nkrumah's lineage and all of Ghana we have never known in Africa what now is called the modern administrative system of a country. We lived under chieftaincies. We lived as a community. We lived as a clan and a tribe. And we were loyal and adherent to the traditions and customs of each tribe and each clan. That is all. You don't campaign to become a chief. We know you by the age of 16, what you are capable of, and the people will make you so. Here we are, asking a foreign system to be handed over to us because we saw the way they built it. That speech is now 70 years old. I leave it to you to judge. Has he proven to the world that a black man can do for himself? No. War after war, civil war after civil war, coup d'etat after coup d'etat across the entire continent of Africa. Famine, hunger, countries in shambles, dictatorship. Gaddafi, 42 years of dictatorship. Eyadema of Togo, 38 years of dictatorship. Mobutu of the Congo, almost 40 years of dictatorship. Matthew Kerekou of Benin Republic, 17 years of dictatorship. Oh, the list continues. Of Burkina Faso, of Sierra Leone, of Gambia, of Ivory Coast. None of them was short of 25 years. Once they get there, they were not coming out. Nyerere of Tanzania will be the first, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania will be the first president who got independence from the British. And after about 30-something years, he stepped away by himself. The whole continent descended into coup d'etat, tribal wars, countries breaking apart like Sudan. Nigeria was in civil war. Rwanda, Liberia, Sierra Leone. The people Nkrumah told the world would be able to do for their people and by themselves could not do for even a household. And now, let's listen to the speech that was given just 2 weeks ago, 2026, when Macron of France visited Kenya. Take a listen.
We will not allow ourselves to be exploited again because we know what we must do. We will not allow ourselves again to be slaves of anybody. We are going to take charge of our own future. The continent was a victim of brutal colonialism, all the way to slave trade, exploitation, and everything in between. The African Union led in the charge for independence. We now have 54 independent states. You have asked us what assurance we can get that this will not be repeated again. I can tell you without fear of any contradiction that we do not need any assurance from anybody. We will do it ourselves. We will not allow ourselves again, as leaders from this continent, we will take charge of our own destiny.
You see? Did you hear his words? President William Ruto became the president of Kenya in 2022. So as we speak, he has only 1 year left as president. 4 years. His legacy includes a series of youth riots and demonstrations, buildings burnt down, people killed with no accountability. Under his 4 years, Kenya has not had 1 day of a smile on their face. I've lived in that country for 5 solid years, and I've met Kenyans in countless number of university campuses. You need to go to Kenya and go to Nairobi University, Strathmore University, Jomo Kenyatta University, University of Science and Technology, and see the brilliance brimming in that country, Kenya. Nice people, great scenery and environment, nature, safaris, fun, artists that are compared to even maybe Picasso. Kenya is bubbling, busting at the seams. Talent. Academically, unbelievable, the students of Kenya. But today, you'll find a law student doing manicure or driving piki-piki. Why? Again, people who think that they will show to the world they can do for themselves. Imagine a man being in office for 4 years. France knows that its companies are producing export goods, plenty, and services and experts. Their country can consume everything their companies are creating. So of course, naturally, countries like European countries must look for new markets where they can invest and bring goods and services for people to have employment. That is all he's trying to do. There's no secret about it. The French president will not jump into his airplane, fly to Kenya, or because he has some nefarious and ulterior motives. How can I stop the giraffes and the elephants from growing in Kenya? Oh no, let me give them 263 billion euros and then steal some elephants and giraffes. No, he came genuinely, good intentions. I want to invest in your country because I've seen the potential. They are the ones who have economics, who understand how places and things work. They study you more than you even have the means to study yourself. And he's come to say, let me bring what we have. Yes, the French would benefit from it, but it would give massive opportunity for the kids who are waiting to show you that they know something about IT, AI, medicine, law, you name it. And he got humiliated in that country. To show goodwill, he decided to go on a morning jog with the legend Kipchoge, the world's best marathoner. I know something about PR. What he did was beautiful. If that could not show this country, Kenyans, that this man came with good intentions, maybe because he couldn't speak your language and speak it properly for you to understand, maybe because you don't have experts in Kenya who will understand the deal he's bringing to you. So you think he's there with some nefarious intentions. No, the French government doesn't need to leave its house if it needs to do anything nefarious to Kenya. They don't need to come on a trip and face humiliation. The man was participating in a youth culture symposium. It was so bad, he has to grab the microphone and say, please show some respect. But that's beside the point. Ruto gets on stage. By the way, Ruto was taken to the World Criminal Court. Him and the previous president before him, Uhuru Kenyatta. They couldn't get witnesses from Kenya, so the both of them walked free. Then he became a vice president to Uhuru Kenyatta for 2 terms, which means he's been a vice president for 10 years under Uhuru Kenyatta. It was so bad that the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, after 10 years, through his support to the opposition to run against Ruto, meaning Uhuru knew he wanted to prevent him from becoming president. So he threw his support through some shady handshakes and all the things they do. But somehow, he is a very conniving and smart politician, that Ruto. He won the election. The country was so bad, in debt to the IMF, he decided, I'm going to tax the people on what is called essential commodities, so I can raise money to pay back debt. He didn't present the message properly. In his arrogant way, the students said, hell no. And riot lasted almost, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I can't remember even. Many were killed. Many, many were killed. There are many today wounded. The government did not go to court. Nobody was responsible. And here is what he said on stage. We are not going to be slaves anymore. So Ruto has informed the entire international community that up until just now, he and his people have been slaves to Europeans all this time. We are not going to be slaves anymore, which means all this time, 10 years under Uhuru Kenyatta, 4 years as president, you have to wait for the French government to arrive in Kenya for you to tell him that you're not going to become slaves anymore. And number two, we don't want to depend on anybody's money to be what we will do for ourselves. Every sentence he uses in that speech is futuristic. Future tenses, which means he doesn't even know what he can do tomorrow. He didn't say in the speech, we are doing XYZ right now for ourselves. No, we will. We don't want to be slaves anymore. We don't want to be slaves anymore, which means up until today, he believed that the country Kenya has been slaves to the West. He didn't even make any proof. No. You know what he has done? He knew the second term is coming pretty soon. So Ruto hijacked a very important occasion to campaign to his people. Oh my God, Africans love tough talk. That's why they like Malema. So, oh my God, my president said to the French president, I don't want your money because we are going to do for ourselves. It's not we are doing for ourselves or I have done for my people. We are going to do. They loved such a talk. I've seen the comments already. People were beating their chest. Oh my God, the Kenyan president stood to Macron. Macron has gone to Kenya now twice. I have called people I know who knows about these policies and this relationship. And they said they knew this before he left. He has great intentions. But this man has spoiled a chance. He named banks in Africa that he believed he was going to go to for money, saying that they have up to $4 trillion? Well, the last 4 years, where was the $4 trillion? Why haven't they given it to you these past 4 years? Why didn't they give it to you and your predecessor the past 10 years? 14 years ago, Mr. Ruto, you've been in power 14 years. And you waited for this man to fly all the way from his country just to inform him, no, I don't want the money because guess what, Mr. Macron? We will do for ourselves, a future tense. You could have just said no to the visit and said, if you are coming because you're looking to invest in our country, thank you, Mr. President, but I got it. And he wouldn't come. But he used the man's visit. He didn't even pick the best and the brightest in Kenya to sit with this man, as Trump would say, and engage in the art of the deal. No, he didn't do that. He used that occasion to campaign on stage. And the only thing he can promise is, you see me, I'm a tough guy. I'm telling him we don't need him. Because he knew those words would make the low-level intelligent say, wow, we're going to do for ourselves? How, when, where, and with what, Mr. Ruto? This was shameful. Luckily for him, there are no sophisticated political analysts in the country who could have gone to the media the next day and tear this thing into pieces. No, Go around and tell me. Look at all the medias and tell me, have they done it? They don't even understand the implications of what he has done to be able to discuss it. No political analyst. They don't understand. Everybody is confused. He started running for his second term right there using the visit of the French President Macron. And his message to his people, as Nkrumah delivered it 70 years ago, a 2026 president of an African country, one of the best economies in East Africa, by the way, is saying what they will do, not what they are doing. Not any blueprint he brought on stage to show to the Kenyan people, I promise you 47 million Kenyans, this is my plan for the next 4 years. No, there was nothing like that. It was everything we will do. We don't want to be slaves. This is not a speech of a president during a visit of another president from another place. Let me tell you something you guys may have forgotten, but I know bright ones of you in Kenya and everywhere else will remember it. Trump came to office the second term. What did he do? America has money. America, how many CEOs he took to China recently? According to the analysis, if you put the total asset of the 15 or 20 CEOs he took to China, their total combined wealth is the GDP of 136 countries in the world. America has money. The banks here are booming. They are looking to loan you money to open businesses. But Trump went to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was jumping up and down, emptying their banks saying, sir, we want to invest 680 million. He didn't say, no, I got it. We can do for ourselves in America. The most powerful economy, military, the leader of the free world, the United States. Qatar said, hey, stop by, Mr. Trump, on your way home. We want to double it. What did they say? $1.2 trillion of investment. And please take it. And we want to replace the Air Force One with a $450 million airplane. Just to say thank you, to allow us to invest in the United States, which in return gives our people a boom in the economy, life and living. The United States didn't say no. I think Dubai threw in some money. Then the Japanese called him and said, all right, Nissan would move its entire steel plant to the United States and manufacturing. Do you know what it means for employment in America, wherever Nissan would put its factory? Did he say no? No. Did he say, no, man, me and my people will? No, he took it. Now, don't get me wrong before you rush to the comment section and say what is wrong with what Qatar gave him, what is involved in it. That is not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not giving any value or credit to what he said, what he got, what money he got from Qatar, Dubai, Kuwait. I don't know what is good or bad about it because I'm not an economist. I'm only saying that same investment, Saudi Arabia, Japan, Qatar, and Dubai offered to Trump, he didn't say, no, we got it. You think he couldn't get that amount of money from banks in the United States? No, come on. 5 big tech companies can give him that amount. But he understands what it means when you allow others from outside to invest in your country. The bridge you've built, it's an economic miracle. So here, the most richest country toward the Middle East, pen in hand, asking for bring money. Then he came on to say, here, I got the gold card for you. $5 million investment in any sector. Do you know what a $5 million investment in any sector, the amount of employment opportunities, plug-in economics it generates? Ruto is not an economist, and I bet you he's not surrounded by the brightest of the bright in Kenya either, because it's all nepotism. He got into office wheeling a wheelbarrow, promising the Mainechi, which is the common man in the streets of Kenya, I'll make your life better. Run a shady campaign and won. And this is the best he did. That speech will go down history. One of the most unfortunate moments in understanding what is called international trade, exchange of services and goods between two countries. No, Ruto has succeeded poisoning generations of young ones to look at any European country with suspicion. He doesn't care. The 5 minutes was on stage. You know how many children died in hospitals across Kenya from curable diseases? How many housewives filled with trepidation just to go in for a checkup? Because the clinic is far away. And if you do go with your child and your child is admitted, you're going to find cardboard to sleep outside the hospital so that you can keep an eye on your child. That is the condition in that country, where the country is beaming with brilliant minds, people who love fun. Nobody gets hurt in Kenya. No foreigner says, I'm hurt. Police are crooked like hell, but so it is across the West, the continent. But that speech, that humiliation of a foreign visitor to your country was bad. The body language, the finger, there was nothing good about that speech. You don't tell a foreign investor, a president who's looking to open opportunities for his people and his companies in his country, knowing very well, if you embrace it and you use the best of your best, it's a win-win for both countries. Nobody from any country openly daytime fly his airplane with his officials from the cabinet and come to your country because he has some ulterior motive. What? Steal giraffes and elephants? Do you know what a $68 billion investment? But no, if these were Chinese who stood on that stage, I promise you one thing, and many people will agree with me, Ruto would never have made that speech. But you see, the Russians are winning every day. The Chinese are winning with their propaganda every day. Because of course, it's a fair fight. The Russians and the Chinese have to find a way, propaganda, to demonize the West. Hey, listen, everything they are bringing to you is cloaked in shady deals. Don't take it. We are the only open ones. Yes, simple. Oh, do you know how many phone calls he got before the French president arrived? It's a competition. If these were Chinese who came, because they are coming through the back doors all the time in Kenya, Ghana, Zambia. They've taken 3 major infrastructure in Zambia because Zambia called the Chinese in but didn't have money to pay for the project. So they seized the airport, the seaport, and I'm hearing some other infrastructure. Even in Kenya right now as I speak to you, the Chinese have a hold on some of the projects. They won't give it back to the government because they haven't paid them. Because Kenya made a bad deal. They didn't reach outside and ask for advice on the art of the deal. He couldn't say so to Chinese who come to your country and flagrantly violate every rule, engage in illegal trade, fight in the streets and call you monkey. But if they were the ones who came on stage, Ruto would roll a carpet for them. He wouldn't have given that speech, I promise you. Why? The Chinese built the AU headquarters in Ethiopia for free. Every single pipe and sheetrock and roof, light bulb in that building is a listening bug. The Chinese are eating noodle in Beijing, listening to you every second of the day. Because they gave you a building, you didn't even have the technology to swipe it down. You go in there, babbling your mouth, and they are listening. And they know exactly what to tell you against the West. Because of course, they have to raise the propaganda for you to hate the West so they can come in. And you buy it. What is it? Hook, line, and sinker. And this is the disgrace you represented. When you say, we will, who is the we, Mr. Ruto? Who is the we? The Kenyans told you to use the word we? The Kenyans, you did a referendum, they told you they didn't need investment. However, if somebody is going to give you scholarships to study abroad, it's Europe. How many students do I know when I was living there? I've heard they are all in Europe. 2 are in the United States that got PhD. Brilliant students. And I asked them, are you going home? They said, Zanu, what am I going to do there? But you're on stage telling the very European country that gives scholarships. We are going to do for ourselves. We don't want to be slaves anymore. What kind of words like that comes out of the mouth of the highest statesman of a country? This is what I want to bring you, so it gives you something to think about. You don't have to be an African, a Kenyan, if you're interested in foreign policy, to know how our so-called leaders don't know anything. So their speeches are bad. They don't know the art of the deal. They are too arrogant to ask for help. And you've seen that on stage. A repeat of a speech that was given in 1957 by a tyrant was repeated 70 years after in Kenya by another tyrant. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let's be respectful. This is ZPR, Zanu Project Rethink, and I'm Frank Zanu. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe before you go. And for those who have been asking me about the intro and outro music, her name is Njiru, N''J-I-R-U, N as in Nancy, N''J-I-R-U. The title of the song is Mama, M-A-M-A, on YouTube. Would you believe it? I was the first in the world to hear that song because she organized that song in my office when I was living in Kenya. She's a gifted artist. The full name, Ivy Bantu Njiru. For short, she's on YouTube as N''J-I-R-U, and the song is Mama. Check it out. She's really great. Thank you. Be blessed.